Well, now I'm going to demonstrate how to make a healthier version of macaroni and cheese. Macaroni and cheese is one of those products that a lot of kids like, a lot of families rely on, but often we use either packaged macaroni and cheese or Velveeta or some kind of pasteurized cheese product. So this one is going to use a lighter roux, which is going to be skim milk and olive oil based, and then we'll use real cheese, carrots to give it a little more sweetness and color. Work with salty water, and that'll bring out the flavor of the pasta, and you won't need as much salt in your sauces. So like a big handful, 2 tablespoons, whatever. Just, make it salty. And the pasta is not really going to absorb all that salt, so you'll actually be reducing the total amount that you eat. So we're going to have our salty water, and we're going to boil our pasta. Every pasta is different, so you kind of have to just follow the directions. Most people like it al dente, which just means you can feel it on your teeth a little bit, so watch it, but you can put it in. So we're going to do a pound of pasta. So then to make the roux, this is the part that scares a lot of people, but it's actually quite easy. First we're going to heat up our milk. So we're going to take a chunk of onion, and if you have red onion, if you have green onions, if you have leeks, it really doesn't matter. You're not actually going to eat this, it's just for flavoring the milk. And we're going to use skim milk. So for something like a roux or in a cake, skim milk's a really good way to cut down on calories, and it's not going to affect your recipe too badly. All right, and we're going to add half a teaspoon of salt to the milk and just let that heat up. The roux part is the combination of fat and flour. You can use butter, it works really well, but olive oil also works, and it'll sort of give you a little less cholesterol and saturated fat. So you want to just put olive oil into your pan. So even olive oil, as it heats up, is going to start to melt a bit. You'll see it spreading out, coating the bottom of your pan. And once it's really done that, you can kind of add the flour. And you'll just give it a stir. So you just want to stir it. It might bubble a bit. You don't want to let it burn. If you find yourself like, oh, my pasta's almost done, I gotta check it, don't worry, just put it somewhere to the side that is not over the flame. So now, once our milk is warm, and you can just kind of give it a feel, you're going to slowly add it to your roux. Easiest with a whisk, so you don't get any lumps, but I would say add like a third of it and give it a mix. You might get lumps at first, but they're unlikely to last. Give it a good stir. Add a little more. What's going to happen is the flour and the oil are going to sort of cook in the milk, and then you'll get this sort of thick result. So you're kind of being freed from having to use a lot of heavy cream or some of those pasteurized products. And you get all the calcium benefits of skim milk. Particularly important when you're on steroids, I believe. Okay, so we'll add the rest. And you need to keep stirring it, but you only really need to be super vigilant when it starts to thicken up. So you can leave it over sort of medium-low heat. So drain it. I don't suggest really ever rinsing pasta. That's unnecessary, and you're just kind of going to get rid of that little bit of salty water that's sticking onto it that's going to help you later. So we have our done macaroni. We're going to put it on the side, and what we're going to do is just add 1 grated carrot. So it's hard to work vegetables into macaroni and cheese, because once kids start seeing green, they start thinking, wait, this isn't macaroni and cheese. Carrot is really good because it'll pretty much hide itself really well. It looks once it's grated, it looks a lot like shredded cheese, and it adds a little sweetness. So it's usually a quite welcome addition. So we're just going to add it to the hot pasta. And give it a little mix. And we're also going to add half the grated cheese directly in. Okay, keep stirring that, make sure there's no lumps. Let it keep going. Then you just want to stir it in, make sure it's pretty well incorporated. So by using the carrot and by using the white sauce, you can use a lot less cheese because you're going to get that creaminess from the milk. We're just going to leave that to the side. And we're going to work on this. And if you want to check, if you're like, I don't really know if it's thick enough, just take a clean spoon and sort of give it a stir. Take it out and see how it coats it. You can just kind of go like that. And if it holds the line, then that's good enough. It's called the nappage. Just saying. All right, so we have our nice creamy bechamel, white sauce, roux milk, whatever you want to call it, and we're just going to pour it right over this macaroni thing. So at this point, you might be like, oh, it's kind of getting stiff because the cheese, it might be sticking together. This milk is going to fix all of that. So it's going to loosen up as it kind of works its way through the macaroni. You start to get this much creamier sort of thing. So it's really starting to look like actual macaroni and cheese. So give it a stir. But since this might not quite fool your children yet, this is also going to be a baked one. So just pour it into a pan. This is a large pan, but you know, like a 13 by 9 glass baking dish would do. You could do it in smaller dishes. So we're gonna have that. And we're gonna take the rest of the cheese and just sprinkle that on top. So you'll get that sort of nice cheesy crust. Okay, and bake it, you know, I'm gonna say 10, 15, 20 minutes, just until it's, you know, all melted and maybe just starting to brown right on top.